In today's video, we're picking up where we left off last week on our Chevrolet Silverado. Our main goal is to make sure that this thing runs and drives correctly, even with these massive wheels and tires and lift kit. Now, if you guys haven't watched the last video, where we finished is we trimmed enough to where we could just mount the tires. So essentially, it is not safe to drive right now in the very least. It rubs on just about everything inside the inner fender well. And then for the front, we haven't really done any trimming other than just the outside of the fenders here. So we have a lot of cutting left to do. But I also ordered some 1.5 inch spacers. Currently, we're only running the 1 inch spacers. So I know for at least the rear, the 1.5 inch spacers are really gonna help a lot. So let's go ahead and unbox those, throw them on in the rear and see if it offers us any extra clearance. Now these are the exact same brand as the 1 inch set that we just installed. So I assume the quality is gonna be the exact same. So for now, we're just going to be using the 2. If we want to install the other 2 up front, then we can later. I don't know if installing a 1.5 inch spacer in the front is going to give us more clearance or restrict our steering even more. So for now, let's just focus on the rear and get that done. Well, now the rear is all good. It is moving around, and I think I've also figured out what our problem is for the noise that we're getting from the rear back here. If you take a look inside there at the axle, whenever we move, it's got a lot of slop in it. So I believe the axle could be broke at that on those teeth that connect into the differential. They don't really connect in, you bolt them in right there, but they still got teeth there. So I'm thinking that's what the issue is. Since we're done with the rear for what we can do now, the 1.5 inch spacers really did help a lot. And I also went through and touched up a lot of the trimming. Obviously, you can see it's a little bit straighter there. Let's move on to the front. I'd like to retain the 1 inch spacers up front. I think that'll give us more steering angle than putting the 1.5 inch on, but if we need to, we can. I just know we're gonna have to be trimming a lot. So I think the first thing that we need to do is mark off the stuff that we need to cut. Then for the inside there, I'm afraid we're gonna hit a lot of the stuff. So we'll have to cut all of it out too, but hopefully it won't be as bad as the back. Well, I've trimmed some of this up here. I still need to go over it to really define the lines and touch them up. But for the most part, I've cut out quite a bit of clearance. And I was thinking, I believe we need to put on the 1.5 inch spacer up front because we really don't have that much to trim on the inside until it's just all 100% structural. So if we can, I really want to be able to trim the outside more than the inside. So the 1.5 inch spacer is the only possible way to do that. But I'm starting to think this might not be possible to actually be able to steer. And obviously it's just 1/2 inch, but here's a side-by-side comparison. It's a pretty big difference, especially whenever it's on the wheels up front. Well, let's find out if an 1.5 inch spacer helps us or hurts us. I'm gonna zip tie this back out of the way, and then we'll do the same thing to the other side. And we can at least drive it in a straight line. Be hard to get it out of the garage, but give us a good chance to test it out for really the first time. Now that I've got the front and the rear trimmed enough where we should at least be able to drive straight, hopefully we can get out of the garage. We're going to try it right now. And I also want to show you guys that the suspension settles really weird. So whenever we start it in here and I turn it a few times, you'll watch the front end drop considerably. Super strange, but anyway, just want to show you. And then we'll also test what kind of clearance we're going to have, if any. I mean, in all honesty, without doing the cab chop on this is the absolute most clearance that we're going to get. We do have the 1.5 inch spacers on both sides. So let's see what happens. Well, we pretty much got all the room that we need in the front, but not near enough room in the back. It's already making contact, and that's the most it's letting me turn. It's just hitting right into the body, so that's not going to work, but maybe it'll be enough to at least drive down the road. And really, I want to diagnose to see if that rear axle is 100% the problem. It's rubbing so bad. It's going to take a 100-point turn just to get out of the driveway. And that axle is definitely feeling like it's broke. I mean, I can't turn at all. It's bad. Yeah, that rear axle is done for. I mean, I can't. I'm having to do a 12-point turn in a roundabout. Well, obviously that was not a very good test drive, but I'm at least happy that we got it out of the garage for a minute. It did okay. Well, it's a new day here, and as we saw from our last attempt to drive this thing down the street, we are still rubbing a considerable amount. So our main focus this evening is going to be cutting up the body in the front. So what we need to do is cut all this about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches off, and we're going to have to cut it all the way from down there all the way to about up here. And then even past that, we may still have to cut that support bar right there, which is a very important structural component. We'll see. Maybe we can just notch it out. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but for now, what I'm going to do is jack up the Camaro on this side, and we'll cut off that first portion and just go ahead and get started, bite the bullet, and get over it. Now, as you can see, I cut out that whole section right here. So, also cut out the pinch weld where it was sticking out about 1.5 inches. So we cut that whole seam. We cut that. Now, the only thing left that I haven't cut is this bar that I know we're hitting. So what I'm going to do now, since I've taken out the fender well liner, I'm going to put the tire back on, try to settle it back down, and I want to see exactly where it's hitting. I really hope we don't have to take this whole corner piece out. If we do, it's really going to suck to have to cut all that and try to make it look okay to put it back together. But if we need to, we will. I just don't want to. Well, that's certainly not going to work. I marked a few new lines, so we'll lift it back up, take the tire off, and see what those cuts are going to look like. So we need to cut, really we can stay below that mark right there, match up with this line all the way across. And then on the bottom side here, we're going to have to follow along this bar and cut. And then underneath it, I've got it marked. See that black line running across right there? We need to cut all that. So basically from this bracket up to here, across, and down all the way to that. And then on this crossbar section, we're gonna have to notch it. There's no way around it. What we can do in the future is make our own bar for that. But for now, there's no way of doing that. So all I really need to do is cut it there and weld a bracket to go around. So we can do that. But for now, we're gonna notch it. Well, I've sat here and cut out just about everything I'm willing to on this side. We've cut out about 3 layers, then I also hammered it back for good measure. I don't think we're gonna hit anything until we get to that bar there. Unfortunately, that bar is gonna have to get notched. There's really no way around it. But I've ran out of cutoff disc for now. So for tonight, let's go ahead and verify that that is enough coverage for everything. If that is, it'll be really easy to mirror on the other side since now we know what's behind it for the most part. Obviously, there's some other stuff that's a little different, but if this gives us enough clearance, we'll at least have a path forward. Well, we've got more than enough clearance, and all we're really hitting is that bar under there now, so I've just got to figure out a way around that. Well, now that the driver's side is done, aside from that support brace, we're going to go ahead and mirror the same thing on the passenger side here. Well, we finally got all that cut up, and for good measure, same as the last one, I did beat in the extra stuff that I could, but I wanted to show you guys, look how close we got to the main power line running through here. The ground, the power, almost everything for the wiring harness runs right through there, and I had no clue. We literally cut right on the edge of it. Didn't even break the wrap on it, so worked out perfect. By the time I cut through there and peeled this piece off, I did see it, so I was able to be a little more careful around that, but it was super hard to work. Had to put a piece of metal behind it just to try to save it, but super difficult. Now keep in mind, we're gonna go over all this stuff and grind down on it with a different cutoff wheel later, but for now, this is the way it's gonna be. Now that we've got it all trimmed up as best we can without cutting that support bracket bar in the back, let's go for another little drive, see if it does any better at all, see if we at least have enough to drive it normally. I don't know, but we'll find out. Well, I just did a clearance test around the roundabout, and it makes it around a roundabout. It just takes every single square inch of it. We still got that axle popping in the rear. I don't know if I told you guys, but I did already order one. I'm gonna check it. A 90-degree turn. Oh, it's not gonna do that. Now we're driving on the actual road. It really doesn't feel that bad for the alignment to be completely off. The suspension's not really dialed in the rear. I think the front is. Camber's pretty much dialed in. The alignment's just pretty bad off. It is rubbing whenever we get on throttle pretty hard in the back, I think. The windshield washer fluid reservoir is rubbing in the front. I tried to beat it back, but it wasn't enough. We're gonna go over some railroad tracks. Not that bad. First and second, it is rubbing in the rear where it's squatting a little bit. It's not much, but it's enough to where it's rubbing. I'm driving it at 55 and it's relatively okay. Let's go across some more aggressive railroad tracks. This is a tight turn here. Oh, lots of rubbing, front and back. Turn here. Pretty much is clearing. Honestly, still has plenty of power. I was not expecting that. But we've definitely got some stuff rattling around. We need to clearance more in the front, especially on this side, which I guess both sides, not sure how much. I'm really hoping that we have some wear marks or some rub marks whenever we get back. But the stuff that we cut in the front seems to be enough clearance. I just don't think we're going to be able to fit a fender well liner back in there. May just be painting it black. The suspension's really not that bad. It's super stiff, but not much worse than a Jeep. But for normal driving, we might be able to get away with this. Definitely not for off-roading, but until I can figure out a solution for the support bracket, we might be fine. I just need to trim up the front, cut the windshield washer reservoir, and see where we're roading in the back. Now we'll drive it through this little patch here. Really, for this, I just want to see if the suspension's going to rub if we're going straight. Seems to be okay if we're going straight. Well, for the most part, a lot of the stuff is clearing that we did. The front, there's no rubbing on, you know, the main point where I thought there'd be contact. You can see that little bracket in there. That's what's attached to the daytime running lights. I believe the bottom portion of it is catching pretty severely. And then for the back, it's just that same bar we already knew about. You can see the rub marks on it where it is making contact right there. So we basically need to notch out an inch all the way around it. So now I've got this trimmed off on the bottom here. I also cut the housing a little bit. And then for the back, I went ahead and notched this bracket. I know that's gonna really reduce a lot of the structural integrity of it, but I think if this clears, I can weld all that back instead of trying to make a new piece to go around it. I think it'll be stronger if I weld in off of this and have a very thin piece. Even if we cut it a little bit more versus putting a rounded piece on it, it just seems like it being straighter for the way it's set up is gonna be better. So even if it is a smaller piece, I think that'll be better than a rounded piece. Only time will tell, but I think this should clear. We only cut about an inch. We can go more if we need to, but I'm gonna do the same thing on the opposite side and we'll go from there. So whenever we articulate a little, even just like pulling into the driveway, it's rubbing on the connector on this side marker light here. So there's no real way to move that side marker light. So I'm thinking about just cutting all this. I wanted to see what's behind it and if it would look okay, but I think that's probably what I'm gonna have to do. Not sure. We'll keep looking over it. I could definitely cut this off right here and just put it back on and have no light working. I wouldn't mind that, but I don't know. We're gonna look at it and see what options we do have. I did the same cuts that we did on this side to the passenger side. Got everything out of the way in the front. So let's drive it one more time for tonight and see if that has given us the clearance that we need, where we're not getting weird rubs and stuff. Now we're gonna turn almost all the way. Now from that point, I've got another, I don't know, an eighth of a turn left. So it's not full, we're not able to fully turn, but we're pretty darn close. U-turn or roundabout. ABS or StabiliTrak is kicking in. I can feel it in the pedal, so that might be for the difference in size for our tires here, but that's something I can figure out later. Let's see, if I turn off traction control, I'm gonna hold traction control in all the way, turn off StabiliTrak, and see if that gets rid of the issue. I really hope the rear axle on the passenger side is the problem and not the differential. It's still making noise, not whenever we're going, but whenever we stop, whenever we pull out, whenever we apply a little bit more pressure. Now this same spot where we turned up onto the main road and had some really bad rubbing, we're gonna turn up it again. See if anything hits. Nothing. Very nice. Let's get on throttle once right here just to see if anything's gonna break. Well, it still roasts these tires. That is hilarious. I've got really all the turning I need for normal street driving. For off-road, it's not gonna be enough. Not for sticky situations. Ooh. So the new axle should be coming in hopefully this weekend. I'm not really sure, but I've already ordered it. So once we put it in, we can really find out if our differential's messed up. If it is, we'll have to get one somewhere. I also got some new stuff for the Bronco and for the 392 today. So I don't know which video will come first, all that stuff or part 2 of the Camaro build. Regardless, got some really cool stuff going on with all the vehicles. Well, the Camaro is getting super close, but tomorrow we have a big car show that we host once a month at my dealership, and I really want to take this thing out, that way people can see it in person. Obviously, it's nowhere close to being done yet, but it is at least kind of drivable. But I have to drive it 40 miles to get there. It's not like it's just down the road, and it's all on the interstate. So I'm thinking what I need to do tonight is go ahead and make sure that we got the steering wheel decently kind of straight. The alignment's going to be really bad off, but I really want to take it out, and this will be a good test. One of my bigger concerns is that the air filter is pretty much wide open right in there. I know you can't see it right now, but there's nothing covering it. So if I can, I'd like to figure out a way to cover that. And I need to get the steering wheel relatively straight. So that's going to be the goal for tonight, and just get this thing ready. That way we can drive it out tomorrow. Well, it's driving straight enough at this point. Steering wheel's still super crooked, but it is driving straight enough. I think it's a safe bet to try to drive it on the interstate tonight before I need to actually make it to work in the morning. So now I guess let's see if we can take it on the interstate. Now keep in mind, we still need to do a little bit more trimming. We need an alignment very bad. We need a rear axle. I don't know if the differential is broke. The speedometer's not recalibrated. There's a lot of things that could go wrong here, but only one way to find out. I am going with traction control completely off, StabiliTrak off, because the difference in tire size, I guess, it's only an inch, but it is maybe throwing off the ABS a little bit. Well, we're getting onto the ramp right now. There's a coyote. It's straight enough to not complain. But whatever that thudding is bad. If I go into neutral, nothing. I'll roll up the window so you can hear it a little bit better. As soon as I put it into gear, I think I can tell a little bit better that that is the rear axle now. You can hear that thudding. But if I put it in neutral, it's not as bad. But it is at least at the minimum drivable. So let's see if we can make it back home. Gosh, that thudding's so bad. Let's do a small pull. Oh, not good. Yeah. That axle or something is definitely broke. I hope you guys heard that. I'll wait till we get closer to the house to thwomp on it again. Felt like it completely separated. Shoo! But it... Ooh! I'm gonna try to inch it back to the house. That was not good. Oh! Something is about to come out. Not good. I think I smell diff fluid. I really hope I don't. looks like the diff is separated right there. Not any more than it was a little bit ago. I wonder if I can tighten that up. That could be the whole problem right there. I can definitely beat it back in to get home, I think. Shoo, that's rough. It smells like diff fluid though, for sure. I really hope I didn't give, oh gosh. I think I gave my daughter the hammer out of here. Oh no. I've got the chalk hammer. If I got anything I can hit it with, that extension might do. Now, as you can see there, I've got it beat back into place. I think that's what's causing the issue. I hope so. Doesn't look like it's anything there. We will find out. Something bad is going on here, and I don't know what it is. Ooh! Oh my gosh. I don't know what that is. It's gotta be. Gotta be my axle. Let's take another glance. Leave you guys in here for a second. I can smell diff fluid. I don't know where it's coming from, but I look out and we're sitting on top of nails right now. So I've got to try to go. We'll see if I can get up to speed. If we were on a better road here, I could try to inch it back. I could try to go back up the interstate or up the ramp, low speeds, take the back roads back. That's not good either. We don't have a far section of interstate, but see if I can go. I don't know. Kind of dead in the water. Let's just try to back up a little bit. Seems like it's, oh, no. Nothing above 5 miles an hour. I want to run right over those nails. I'm gonna have to put this light on the back. Might be reversing all the way home. Oh, probably not. My only option is to beat it in, not go fast, and make it home. So I'll be right back. Now let's see if we can make this slow trek home. Well, it seems like if I go really slow and stay off the interstate, I can keep that axle shaft in place. I really hope it's just the axle. I do smell a considerable amount of diff fluid, but I think what's been going on is that where that axle is a little broken before, it's creating enough separation for it to mess up even more. I don't really know. I'm hoping whenever you put that axle in there that flange doesn't have the room to expand the way that we just saw. I'm not really sure what's going on, but I think we can point all of it back to the axle, and at least we know what the noise was. So that's good. But that new axle will be here Sunday. So basically in like 24 hours, the axle will be here, and hopefully we can put it in and that'll fix this issue. I don't know, we will see. But for now, we're cruising back home. But at least now is a good time to talk to you guys about the sponsor of this Camaro build. A huge thanks to Last Fit for sending out the LED bulbs in this Camaro. It's definitely making this drive a little bit easier. Well, since now is such a good time to talk about it, I've got to tell you about the biggest sponsor of the Camaro build, which is Last Fit. I already showed you in the last video whenever we put the LED lights in the Camaro, which right now are coming in clutch. But I also talked about their jump starter that I use on a weekly basis to get me out of sticky situations. One thing I haven't shown you is the floor mats that I use in pretty much all of my cars. I sent them to my dad. He's got them in his Colorado ZR2. We got them in the Bronco Raptor. And of course, we've got them in the Rubicon 392. Now, these floor mats are rough, rugged, and they hold all the dirt in one place, as you can tell. In the Rubicon 392 and the Bronco Raptor, we put these mats to the test every trip that we take off-road. And as you can see there, they've got that awesome tread pattern design there, and they really hold everything in place. But when it does come to clean them, it's as simple and easy as spraying them out, and they don't hold onto that dirt. You can see the different tread pattern here in the Bronco Raptor. These floor mats have really saved me a lot of hardcore cleaning, and they keep your interior looking brand new for forever. Now with the Bronco, I have them in the front and the rear. Same thing for the Rubicon 392. And I really think for the price that these are offered at, there is not a better mat on the market. Now they make these for a wide range of different vehicles, so whatever you have, go down in the link into the description below and check them out. See if they make them for yours. If not, they have plenty of other products, and I guarantee you they make something for your machine that can really light it up. Another huge thank you to Last Fit for sponsoring the build on the Camaro. Without their help, trust me, this would never be possible. So please return the favor and support them by checking out everything they have to offer down in the link in the description below. Well, after an hour of what felt like crawling, we finally made it back. This thing sounds horrible. It's got to be the axle's just snapped in half. I pushed on it whenever we were on the side of the interstate there, and it just seems like it's separated enough. So beating it back into that flange was enough to, I guess, give it enough room to be broke in there and not make bad noises and put it at a bad, I don't know, whatever it was doing. It was very bad. So I guess we won't be able to take this to the car show tomorrow. I'll just have to take the 392, or I could finish up the Bronco Raptor. I've still got some stuff going on with it. Well, after our eventful night last night, we did get the Camaro back, as you saw. And luckily, the axle is already in. So let's go ahead and open it up, see what we've got, and then we should be able to install it and hopefully drive this thing for the first time for real to actually be able to test it out. Now, this was an Amazon special. We only paid $70-ish for it. So I'm anxious to see how it's actually going to do. Believe it or not, it seems a little more heavy duty than what the one that's currently on it is. Does look like it's pre-greased. This actually seems like a pretty darn good axle. Hey. And the last one I got is from O'Reilly's. And it did come with all the hardware that we need. So let's get tearing this thing apart. Yeah. Yeah. Well, with this lift kit, I had to get pretty creative on how we could actually get that thing out. But with a ratchet strap, we did it. Now let's see the damage on this thing. So first of all, these are completely eaten out. It's got holes on just about every side. These bearings have all kinds of metal around them. Big pieces of metal. Massive chunks of metal. And this housing for the bearings is completely eaten up. The teeth here eaten up pretty good. Yeah, so the shaft itself didn't break. It's just all this, all the components in here did. And now that we got that out, we're good to go ahead and throw in the new one. Well, now that the axle should be fixed, it's time to take this Camaro on another test drive to see if it was actually just our axle, which is what I'm hoping for. But there's a chance with how much slop there was in that differential that either the flange on the differential could be messed up or the actual internal gears there could be shredded. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here, but I am hoping and praying that the axle is all that we needed to get this thing on the road. That way we can really get to dialing it in. Now we should be able to tell pretty quickly if that was our main issue here. Feels like everything is engaging properly. Already feels a little better. I don't want to jinx it because it's so quick. But it seems like that has fixed the problem. The roaring that we had, anytime we were on throttle, even if it was a small amount, seems like it's gone. Well, now that I think it feels right, the question is, do we take it out on the real roads and put it to the real test and risk another long night stranded on the side of the road, or wait till morning? But tomorrow I have plans to work on the Bronco and the Jeep. I really have a lot of stuff I need to get done on them. So let's go ahead and take it out on the road. Let's just see what happens. It feels so much better, it's not even funny. But what I'm afraid of is whenever we really get on it, if those teeth are going to slip in the differential, or if that flange is going to come out just enough to give us an issue. Still got some rubbing. Gonna have to trim some in the back. It's only on just the right bump, but it's enough to count for sure. Well, let's see if the burnout is really what caused our problems last time. Let's stomp on it. It will still roast them, and it does not seem like we just broke anything. So that is all good. We roasted them super slow. We had traction control on. So let's take traction control completely off. All right, from a dead stop, here we go. Let's see what breaks. Reduced clutch use. It's like it gave out there for a second. Try it again. Reduced clutch use. I can definitely smell that clutch, but we didn't burn it up. Let's try it again here. I'm just gonna dump the clutch. It's still moving, guys. It's not that bad. Well, great news. It is fixed. And of course, the one day that I decide to pull it outside, it starts pouring rain. So we're stuck out here underneath the tarp right now because I'm trying to finish up this inner fender well liner. I want to drive this to work tomorrow, but it's going to be pouring the rain. So I need to have this inner fender well liner on because I don't want all of that water to go straight into the frame where we cut. So I've got everything put back in the best I can. I've got it cut to clear the tires for now. I really didn't want to put these inner fender well liners back in now. It's not ready for them. So we need to test the clearance before I waste the time to put everything back together for the opposite side as well. So what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and put that tire back on this side right here. We'll see if it gives us enough clearance to actually be able to drive it. It won't be as much clearance as we had before, that's for sure,
without the inner fender well liners, but it should be enough to get us down the road. I'm just trying to get it to work so I can do the alignment. Once we do the alignment, then we can do the proper clearing to make sure everything's going to clear perfectly. So now we've got both sides done. I already drove around with the first side. It was okay. It restricted our steering, but it was an irrelevant amount, so hopefully this side will be the same. In the tighter turns, we're running into a little bit of a problem, but just driving around the neighborhood, this is where you get most of the rubbing anyway, and it's not rubbing bad, so we'll be fine. The only place we'll run into stuff is like parking lots for right now. Is that a good nugget?
Yeah, that is a nugget.
I think I see you in the camera. Are you holding on? Whoa. You think it rides better or worse with big tires?
Better with big tires.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it look cooler or not as cool?
A little cool, but cooler.
Okay. Good. Let me see what we're hitting real quick. No big deal.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna make our first long trip today. It's 40 miles to work, 40 miles back. So this will be our longest trip yet. And I'll touch base with you guys whenever we get there. I wanna see what kind of fuel economy we're gonna get, and then we'll get the alignment dialed in while we're there. But I'll touch base with you all again if we have any issues on the way. Well, we made it to work with no major issues. It actually drove okay. The rear suspension is so stiff that you are being vibrated violently the whole way. I haven't balanced these wheels and tires yet. The machine that we have here at work really just isn't good for these off-road tires, and it can't measure road force. So I am waiting for that. But just seeing this thing compared next to normal traffic is absolutely hilarious. Everybody that sees it going down the road has some kind of reaction, whether it's good or bad, but it's a lot of fun. And I'm happy it made it here. Went to lunch here to grab me something to eat, and look how tall this thing is. It looks crazy out here with these other cars. Absolutely insane. So we got the Camaro up here on the alignment rack, as you can see, and it's going okay, but we are having some issues with the camber in the rear. Not on this one, but on this one up here. Surprisingly, in the front, the camber's acceptable from what we've done. We can make that adjustment at home. The big thing is making sure we get the toe and the steering wheel straight, all that stuff here. That way it's not pulling itself apart going down the road. But it's actually going better than I thought. This is the side that took all the damage in the past whenever we wrecked it, so I don't expect it to be perfect, but if we can get it close, that's going to help a lot. Whenever I had it on the stock ride height and the stock tires, the inside patch of that tire would wear super fast because it's basically pointed out a little bit. So it's making most of the contact from basically here over. So if we can fix that, that'd be great. Well, now that the alignment is done, it's driving a lot better, but I haven't got a chance to take it out on the interstate yet. So as we drive home today, we're gonna be testing out the new alignment, see if that's gonna help the vibration. Like I said, it was vibrating so bad on the way here. Hopefully this will get it a little bit better. So right now with the speedometer showing we're going 70, we're really going about 82 miles an hour. You can see how much vibration we've got inside the car. That's a good indicator. It's not that bad on the steering wheel. Hopefully you can see the alignment's straight. I think it's really just that rear suspension, how stiff it is. That's where we're getting all this vibration from, or at least most of it. Now, I don't have the wheels balanced yet, so that could be part of it. To be fair with you guys, it's honestly not that bad right now. That makes it look worse than it actually is. So it's not bad. It's definitely got some vibration. But every time we go over a big bump, even if it's just a connection between the road and the bridge, We are getting scraping in the rear, so that's something we're gonna have to address relatively soon. But for now, I can definitely say I'm happy with how it's at least performing. Well, now that we've got it dialed in enough to drive properly, I think this is a good place to stop for now. This is a build that's probably never going to end. We've got so much that we can continue to do and so much that we need to address, to be perfectly transparent. There's plenty of stuff that I'm still going to trim up. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to have to tack in. We're going to have to re-weld some braces in. There's a bunch of crazy stuff left to do. But for the most part, this thing is pretty much done in terms of just functionality. To be fair with you guys, if you were just interested in driving this on the road, then this would be plenty enough. It's plenty capable to drive on the road. But as you all already know, we want to take this thing off-road. So there's a bunch of other stuff that I'm going to touch up. There's a ton of stuff that we got to really dial in before we take it on a big crazy trip off-road. But it looks absolutely insane. So of course, another huge shout out to Rough Country for sending out these awesome tires to really pull the look together and give us the capabilities that we need to take this two-wheel drive machine off-road. And a huge thank you to Last Fit for continuing to sponsor us, especially for a crazy build like this, really going out on a limb here to help us out. If you're interested in picking up any of the stuff that they offer, check them out down in the links in the description below. Be sure to stay tuned in, follow along on the journey, because this thing is going to be absolutely insane by the time we really get it all done. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, let me know what you want to see next, but until then, Godspeed.